I remember what it was like growing up as a Sonic fan. I grew up around the adventure era. I just remember the excitement, especially around the 15th anniversary. It felt like Sonic was on top of the world and he was coming out with all of this content and games. And it was an incredible time to be a Sonic fan. It felt so insanely exciting. And we all know how the 15th anniversary went. It didn't actually go the way we planned, but that excitement that I felt as a kid around that time, going to websites, looking at all the different games, watching the shows, it was incredible. But if I'm honest, I haven't felt that since. Of course, the 15th anniversary didn't go as planned, and after that, it felt like Sonic continued to stumble his way until they found the boost formula, which worked for a bit, but I never got excited. Like, I was never on the edge of my seat, pumped for what Sonic was doing, and that excitement from the 15th anniversary, I haven't felt again until now. I genuinely feel the most excitement for this character that I felt since I was a kid during that time period, and it's insane, and I never thought I would feel this way again. I thought that maybe just because I was older, that the Sonic the Hedgehog character just didn't connect and didn't excite me as it used to, and maybe he's just more for kids, and I still love the games and love the character, and he always has held a special place in my heart, but I just thought that because I was older, he wasn't exciting me anymore, and that I was okay with that. But now, especially in this last 2 years, and last year especially, I feel that excitement that I had when I was a kid during that 15th anniversary. And I want to dive into a few reasons why I think that this is like the Sonic Renaissance, and that actually he is about to explode into popularity and excitement in a way that we have probably never seen. So first are the movies, obviously. And when I was a kid, around that time of that 15th anniversary, there was a Sonic fan film that was releasing. And I remember watching all of the stuff for it and getting so pumped for it and waiting for it. Because as a kid, you're just like, man, having a Sonic film would be so cool. He would be put so well to the screen, it would be incredible. And so when they released that fan film, I lost my mind and was so excited, and was hoping for the day they would make a Sonic film. And then of course they did eventually make a Sonic movie, and it honestly put him back on the map. I think this was the beginning of the renaissance of Sonic, where he was making a massive comeback. And initially it seemed horrible. Like, it just seemed like it was going to continue the pattern of Sonic things being terrible, which was kind of ironic. But they fixed the movie, they fixed his model, and the movie actually turned out to be surprisingly good. It wasn't going to win any Oscars, but for a video game movie, it was like, wow, that was actually a really well done film. And then the sequel came out, and the studio just let the creators make a Sonic film, and it honestly blew my mind. It is still my favorite video game movie of all time, where they kind of followed the storyline for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it was so faithful to the characters and who they were and their worlds, and it was still accessible to kids, but for the old fans, there was still fun to be had, and I just felt this genuine excitement. And then when the after credits scene played and you see Shadow the Hedgehog show up, and you know they're heading into the Sonic Adventure 2 story, that as an adventure fanboy just made me so excited. And I genuinely am like, I just waiting, like I cannot wait for that third film, because I'm genuinely pumped for these movies that are coming out, because they're so faithful to the character I grew up with. They're so faithful to the stories and the fans, and it's just actually an exciting piece of content to have. And then in addition to this, and I'm actually shocked that I am excited by this, but also the TV shows. And I remember growing up on Sonic X, and I loved it. And looking back now as an adult, Sonic X is nice nostalgia, but it's definitely like a flawed show. But having a TV show as a kid got me so pumped, and I loved watching those episodes and seeing things like the adventure stories be played out with more depth on the screen on television, and my friends would watch it with me, and I was always pumped for Sonic X and when it would come on TV. And of course, as I got older, Sonic X ended and they replaced it with Boom. And Boom was a funny show, and it's very meta, which is really weird. But I wasn't excited for Boom. I don't think very many people were. And it was a fine enough show, but it wasn't like a show that got me pumped, especially as I got older. It's like, this show's mostly for kids, but there's actually some really funny humor in it for adults. But now Netflix is releasing its own Sonic show called Sonic Prime, and I didn't think anything of it because I was like, oh, it'll probably be like another Sonic Boom kind of thing where this will be like a kid's show and whatever. But in watching the trailers, I have found myself becoming more and more excited for this TV show, which I wasn't expecting. It actually looks good. It looks like the Spider-Verse movies meets Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm here for it, where I'm like, man, the voice cast that they have is doing an incredible job. The animation looks actually really good, and the story doesn't look corny and cheesy. It looks like something that I could watch and have a good time with. And I can't believe this, but I'm actually genuinely excited for this show, and the more that they show me, the more pumped I am, and the more pumped I am for this kind of content coming our way as Sonic fans. But then lastly, of course, this is the thing that's getting me the most pumped recently, because it's great to have awesome movies, it's great to have great TV shows, but at the core of everything of who Sonic is, he is a video game character. And man, it has been a long time since we have had a video game that I've been pumped about. Don't get me wrong, they've had good games, like Generations was good, Colors was good, half of Unleashed was good, the Werehog wasn't so great, and then they just kind of kept leaning into that boost formula, and it just felt like it got really boring. And as an adventure fan, at first it was a fun formula, but I'm like, man, I wish we could go back to where it was more about platforming and there is speed, but it's not just like press this button and just go through the level like it was with the last 3D Sonic game, where it was really, you're just on this track holding this button and you're not doing much, and it honestly wasn't very fun. But from the moment they've revealed Frontiers, I have been insanely excited for a few reasons. As someone from the Sonic Adventure era, growing up with those games, I was so sick of how childish and immature the stories were for the Sonic games. Sonic doesn't need to have these deep, dark, gritty stories, but the games were so childish and so lame that I couldn't, like, playing them as an adult. I enjoyed the Sonic gameplay parts, but I would like cringe that whenever I'd watch a cutscene, I would just cringe inside and be like, this is so bad, in a way that the other stories weren't, where it's like they still have their goofy things because it's a story about a talking blue hedgehog, but it wasn't as like childish and immature and just frankly stupid. And so to see a story that looks a little bit more serious had me incredibly intrigued, and then to see elements from games like Breath of the Wild being brought in, and seeing that there actually is more of an adventure style gameplay along with boost, which I really liked, I was really pumped. And initially some people were skeptical, which was fair, but I think the more that we've seen gameplay and the more we've seen this game be developed, it has been awesome to see people genuinely get excited. Like, it feels like for the first time in a really long time, people are excited for a Sonic the Hedgehog game. And that is incredible. And of course we had Sonic Mania and Sonic Origins, and Origins was great. I actually really enjoyed it. Being able to play Sonic 3 and Knuckles on HD was super awesome. And then Mania was great in itself. But for us 3D fans who grew up with 3D Sonic, it's so nice to feel like I have something to be excited for, and I genuinely am. Like, I don't remember the last time I pre-ordered a Sonic game, but this one I did, and I'm waiting for it to be unlocked day one so that I can go and play it, because that's how genuinely excited I am for it. It feels like that 15th anniversary excitement, and hopefully it goes better than the 15th anniversary, but that kind of excitement where it felt like there were so many opportunities and so many cool things coming Sonic's way. It feels like we're in that kind of an era again, but actually this is going to be even bigger and better, because I genuinely believe that Sonic Frontiers is going to be an incredible game. And so far, everybody who's gotten their hands on it says it's actually a really incredible game. And I think it's going to bring revival to Sonic as a brand, and it's going to boost him into heights that he hasn't seen since the 90s. Along with that, with the movies just absolutely killing it and crushing it, and this TV show that looks really good. And not to mention, I haven't even mentioned the comic book series, which is actually really well done. And the guy who writes the comics is writing for the game, which makes me insanely excited because he's a really good writer. It feels like we're in a Sonic renaissance, and that it's happening right now, and this is his moment, and I am here for it. And I am so happy that those feelings I had when I was a kid weren't just feelings I had when I was a kid, because I used to think, oh, maybe I just felt that way because I was young. But now seeing this is like, no, it's because I've had a drought of quality Sonic material for most of my adulthood life, and we're finally getting solid stuff, and it is insanely refreshing to be excited for Sonic again. But with all that being said, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Sonic? Have you been enjoying the movies? Have you been enjoying the previews for the new show? Are you excited for Sonic Frontiers? Are you going to pick it up? Or are you skeptical? Are you still like, I don't know if this is going to be good? Hopefully Sonic can land on his feet, but he often fails. So I have my doubts. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know your thoughts, and we will see you guys in the next one.